So, I will explain about simple sentence. Simple sentence is a sentence that contains one verb or main clause and contains one idea. Simple sentence have simple characteristic like sentence in general. Actually, simple sentence consists of subject, verb, complement, and modifier. For example, I'm going to the cafe this afternoon. I'm is subject, going to is verb, the cafe is complement, this afternoon is modifier. That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Okay, I would like to explain about compound sentence. A compound sentence is two or more independent clauses. An independent clause is a part of a sentence that can stand alone because it contains a subject and a verb and express a complete thought. Example: they watch television and I read a novel. They watch television is an independent clause and I read a novel is also independent clause. So independent clause 1 is they watch television and independent clause 2 I read a novel. So in that sentence there are two independent clauses. One, they watch television, and two, I read a novel. So there are three ways to make a compound sentence. First, with a coordinators, connector or coordinating conjunction, fanboys like a for, and, no, but, or, yet, so, and etc. Here the rules: independent clause plus coordinators plus independent clause also. So this is I have example from the coordinators and Surabaya is in East Java and Palembang is in South Sumatra. Here Surabaya is in East Java is the independent clauses one, and so and is a coordinators, and Palembang is in South Sumatra is independent clause 2. So if we use or, she will go to park, or she will clean her house. She will go to the park is a independent clause 1 and or is the coordinators, and then she will clean her house is the independent clause 2. So I want to speak English fluently, so I have to practice every day. I want to speak English fluently is independent clauses 1, and so is a coordinators, and I have to practice every day is the independent clauses 2.
With a semicolon, this kind of compound sentence is possible when only the two independent clauses are closely related in meaning. Independent clause plus independent clause. Example: first, I want to speak English fluently. It means I have to practice every day. The second, salt water boiled at a lower temperature than fresh water. It means food cooks faster in salt water. With conjunctive adverb. Some common conjunctive adverbs are also besides, furthermore, in addition, moreover, as well, however, nevertheless, on the other hand, contrast, otherwise, for example, and etc. Here there is a form independent clause plus conjunctive and adverb plus independent clause. So example, the first, I want to speak English fluently. It means, therefore, I have to practice every day. The second, Indonesia is rich with natural resources, from Sabang until Merauke. It means, however, they are not utilized wisely.
Okay, I want to explain about complex sentence. Complex sentence contains one independent clause and one or more dependent clause. The dependent clause is introduced by actor or subordinate conjunction. For an adverbial clause or a relative pronoun, for an adjectival clause. There are two common definite clauses which used in forming complex sentence. The second one, complex sentence with a verb clause. The second two, complex sentence with adjective clause. Next, complex sentence with a verb clause. The second one, an adverb clause acts like an adverb, that is, it tells where, when, why, and how. Adverb, the second two, a verb clause begins with a subordinator such as when, will, because, if, or that. And the last, the second three, can come before or after an independent clause. Next, punctuation rules. The second one, when the independent clause goes before the independent clause, the clause are separated by a comma. Example, I'll talk, they love each other, they cannot live together. The second two, if the dependent clause comes after the independent clause, do not use a comma. Example, he bought a new car when he was 25 years old. Okay, maybe here. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello, I'm Nurhaliza Nabila Putri. I will explain about defining relative clauses. What is defining relative clauses? According to Thompson and Martinet, 1960-31, a defining relative clause is a relative clause that modifies the preceding noun to distinguish it from other nouns in the same class. In a sense, a defining relative clause means a relative clause that explains and describes a certain noun independent to differ it from other nouns in the same class. As the name suggests, defining relative clauses give essential information to define or identify the person or thing we are talking about. Take for example the sentence, "Cats that like dogs are very unusual." In this sentence, we understand that there are many cats in the world, but we are only talking about the ones that like dogs. So, I will continue the materials. Defining relative clauses are composed of a relative pronouns, sometimes omit a verb and optional other elements such as the subject or object of the verb. There are rules to following relative clauses. Point 1. Relative pronouns. There are 3 you must to watch carefully, such as subject, object, and possessive. In the person with subject, we can use who or that, and the person with object, we can use who or whom or that, and the person with possessive, we can use whose, and the thing with subject, we can use which or that, and the thing with object, we can use which or that, and the thing with possessive, we can use whose, and the place with object, we can use were, and the time with object, we can use when, and the reason with object, we can use why. Point 2. Replacing with that in spoken English. The pronouns who, whom, and which are often replaced by that in spoken English. Who, whom, and which is very formal and is only used in written English. You can use who or that instead or omit the pronoun completely. You can use which to times, place, and thing.
Now defining relative clause. According to Thompson and Martin, a non-defining relative clause is a relative clause that is placed after the noun and separated from the noun by commas. To give some additional information about a certain noun, as the name suggests, non-defining relative clauses tell us more about someone or something, but the information in these clauses does not help us to define what we are talking about. Take for example the sentence, gorillas, which are large and originate in Africa, can sometimes be found in the zoo. In this sentence, we are talking about all gorillas, not just some of them. The information in the non-defining relative clause tell us something more about gorillas in general. It does not define a small group of gorillas or an individual gorilla. So, the defining relative clause is a clause that is not important in the sentence. If we are remove the clause, the sentence or the meaning of the sentence will be same. Rule of not defining clauses. The following relative pronouns are used in non-defining relative clauses. These relative pronouns appear at the start of the non-defining relative clause and revert to a noun that appears earlier in the sentence. Subject for subject of the person is who or that, so thing, which or that, and then if the object of the person is they are who, whom, or that, and if the thing, which or that, if the place where, if the time when, and if the reason why. So and then possessive, if the person is whose and if the thing is whose also. And here I have some examples of the non-defining relative clauses. First, John's mother, who lives in Scotland, has 6 grandchildren. Here is it. Who lives in Scotland? It is a non-defining clause. This clause is not important in the sentence. If I remove the sentence who lives in Scotland, so the sentence other will not to different from the meaning.
Third, including or omitting the relative pronoun. The relative pronoun can only be omitted when it is the object of the clause. When the relative pronoun is the subject of the clause, it can't be omitted. You can usually tell when a relative pronoun is the object of the clause because it is followed by another subject plus verb. See below. In the first sentence, the relative pronoun can't be omitted because it is the subject of the relative clause. The woman spoke. In the second sentence, the pronoun can be omitted because the woman is the object of the verb loved. The fourth, other uses of that. That is often used to introduce defining relative clauses when they follow the words something, anything, everything, nothing, all, or a superlative. It may be omitted when it is not the subject of the clause. Here there are some examples. The first, there's something that you should know. There is that here after something word. The second, I'm sorry, but that is all that I saw. Here there is that after all word. The third, everything that you say seems silly to me. There is that after everything word. So the last, do you have anything that will help my throat? Here there is that after anything word.
Okay, I want to explain about the differences between defining relative clause and not defining relative clause. In defining relative clause, the pronouns who, whom, and which are often left by that in spoken English. In not defining relative clause, you cannot replace other pronouns with that. You also cannot leave out the relative pronoun in not defining relative clause in the way you sometimes can in defining relative clause. The pronoun is required even when it is the object of the verb in the relative clause. Finally, non-defining relative clause are always separated from the rest of the sentence by commas, unlike defining relative clause which have no punctuation. Jadi di sini saya menjelaskan tentang perbedaan antara mendefinisikan klausul relatif dan tidak mendefinisikan klausa yang relatif. Jadi, dalam mendefinisikan klausa relatif terdiri dari kata ganti yaitu who, whom, and which, siapa, dan yang sering digantikan itu dalam bahasa Inggris. Dalam klausul relatif yang tidak dapat didefinisikan, Anda tidak dapat menggantikan kata ganti lainnya. Dengan itu, Anda juga tidak dapat meninggalkan pronoun relatif dalam klausul relatif non. Dalam cara Anda kadang-kadang dapat mendefinisikan klausul relatif, dan kata ganti juga diperlukan. Bahkan ketika ia adalah objek kata kerja dalam klausul relatif, akhirnya klausul yang relatif non mendefinisikan adalah selalu terpisah dari sisa kalimat yaitu oleh koma. Tidak seperti mendefinisikan klausul relatif yang tidak memiliki tanda baca. Jadi klausul yang relatif non itu selalu terpisah dari sisa kalimat yaitu oleh koma. Tidak seperti mendefinisikan klausul relatif yang tidak memiliki tanda baca. Example, he gave me the letter which was in a blue envelope. Non-defining clause, there was only one letter. In having it to be blue, you must use which. He gave me the letter which, that was in a blue envelope. Defining clause, there were several letters of different colors, and he gave me the blue one, which might be relaxed by that the commas are removed. Jadi ada dua contoh. Contoh yang pertama yaitu dia memberi saya surat itu yang dalam amplop biru. Jadi klausul non definisinya ada hanya satu huruf yang berwarna biru. Anda harus menggunakan kalimat yang. Yang kedua, dia memberi saya surat yang dalam amplop biru. Jadi definisi yang ada beberapa huruf dengan warna yang berbeda. Dan dia memberiku yang biru yang dapat digantikan oleh itu. Oke, maybe until. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.